Hi, hello, my name's Ollie and this is Bookstore. For those of you who don't know, I enjoy creating images about queer fiction, and I do little reviews or little videos around that. So today I'm doing the mid-year freakout tag. The reason why I'm doing it a month later than everybody else is because I started my channel in February, so this is my mid-year freakout right now. So although I'm probably a bit late to the party, for me, I'm on time, so enjoy. Okay, so the first question is your favourite read of the year so far, and that has to be If You Could Be Mine by Sara Farizan. I absolutely adored this book. I read it at the beginning of the year as part of Diversathon. So I was introduced to something which I wouldn't normally read at all. It's about Sara, who's based in Iran, and she's falling in love with, well, she has had a long-term relationship in secret with Nasrin. And now Nasrin is engaged to be married, and it's about Sara trying to find a way of them to remain together. And the only thing that she can think of doing is changing her gender identity so that she becomes a man, and that way her family will support her and she won't be doing something illegal where she could be killed for it. So I think the reason why I really enjoyed this was because it's a completely different perspective to contemporary society right now happening, which I wasn't aware of, had no kind of insight to at all, and really highlighted a completely different type of culture, which I think is really scary. But it also handled it with a sensitivity in terms of things that you can draw from, which would be nice to experience and live in around, for things like the food and some of the family and community that's there. And I just thought it was really intelligently done. It's a great YA novel, but also the voice of the character, Sara, I really liked her morality in it. She genuinely wants to be a good person, but she has to lie and she has to deceive people because of the way in which her society is structured around her, and she's conflicted with those things, and you can see that. And I just thought it was just a cool book, and it made me interested to read more by Sara Farizan. The next one is the best sequel that you've read so far. I haven't read one this year. Actually, I've just mainly been reading individual novels at the moment, but if I was going to read this sequel, and have every good intention of doing this, I'd be reading Dune's The Messiah, which is the second of the trilogy for the Dune series, which is by Frank Herbert. This is my dad's copy, so it's nice and old. You can even see by the yellow pages how old it is. When was this published? First published in 1969, and this is 10 years later in 1979. So this is an old book, and I should be more careful with this book. And so this book, I think, expands on the world which you learn about in the first one. So I'm just really excited to see how this one evolves. Next question is a new release which you haven't read but want to, and so that is Draw the Line, which is by Laurent, Linn, and I am really excited about this because it's about a character who's involved with kind of a superhero story. I think it's going to be quite similar to Hero. Unlike Hero, this isn't about someone who is a superhero, at least I don't think so. This is about like an arty outsider who creates the superhero character Graphite, but then when a real life hate crime occurs, it makes the person have to step it up in some way. So I'm curious in terms of the actual storytelling. It actually has little graphic novel elements to the book itself, and in terms of it also being quite nice big type, so I think I'll read this quite quickly. It'll be a summer read, but I'm massively here for this type of story. A geeky outsider who likes art. Sounds like I would be into this, basically. The next one is the most anticipated book for the second half of the year. It has to be The Book of Dust by Phillip Pullman. I've enjoyed the series. I'm a bit weird. I haven't actually read the first book, which I have all the intentions of reading over the summer as well, but called The Northern Lights. I watched the film and then I basically read 2 and 3 thinking that that was enough, but then everyone has told me since that the book only covers 2/3 of the story. And I was very confused why it starts off in the second book that she's in a completely different world. So I knew I was missing something, and I'm looking forward to discovering what that is in Northern Lights, but I'm very much here for the Book of Dust, because I really did enjoy the trilogy in terms of what I've learnt of it so far. So then the next one is the biggest disappointment of the year so far, and that has to be Tim Winton's Breathe. And this is not the fault of the author at all. I really actually enjoyed the story. I am going to blame the bookstore. I won't say who they are though, because they're independent, but this book was placed in the kind of queer section of their bookshelves, and so I kind of made the assumption that the storylines would be focusing on a relationship between two men, and it didn't at all. It did focus on relationships between men, but in terms of more friendships rather than romantic feelings. So I felt kind of cheated by the end of reading this book, because where I was expecting it to go, it didn't, and it went somewhere completely different, which is in relation to the title, Breathe. And it was really enjoyable and interesting and fun, and I don't want to give stuff away on that side, but so this is about the lead character, Bruce Pike, who is called Pikelet, and he has a best friend called Looney. They're young surfers together. It's about their friendships and tensions and the way they compete with each other. They form this very strong, idolising friendship with an older guy who's a more established surfer and competitor called Sando, and he puts them in incrementally more dangerous situations, and it's about Pikelet's comfort and the way he pushes himself to become the most extreme, incredible version of himself, and the impact of that in terms of in order to remain at the top and in that kind of extreme setting amongst his peers with his friends, he has to go beyond himself, and it's about how far he's willing to go and take it. I did really enjoy the story. I was just waiting for the gayness to kick in, and it never came. So that's why it was disappointing. It was just disappointing on the fact that it wasn't gay enough for me. But outside of that, it's a cracking read. It's a good story. I enjoyed it. Okay, the next one is the biggest surprise, and the biggest surprise for me kind of relates to the biggest disappointment as well, and that's 13 Reasons Why. And again, with 13 Reasons Why, I really enjoyed the Netflix series. That's how I ended up picking up this book and reading it. In the story, it focuses on a relationship between Hannah, who has committed suicide, and she passes on her story, the 13 Reasons Why she committed suicide, to Clay. And Clay is playing those tapes, and he's responding to them in his head as he's listening to the tapes, and you hear the dialogue between the pair of them. Whereas 13 Reasons, the Netflix series, covers all the contributing characters and gives them backstories, and through those backstories you learn about some characters who are from the LGB community, and they are fed into the main plot. Whereas this doesn't have any of those characters at all. And I have a full video where I'm doing a comparison between the two books, which I'll add as a link. But so that's why this was surprising. I was like, where are all the gays? Where have all the gays gone? So that was why this was surprising. I wouldn't say it was disappointing though, because it was such a good read. The next one is your new favourite author, and it has to be Juno Dawson, who has written both This Book Is Gay and The Gender Games. I massively loved both these books, and I sat and watched a reading in Liverpool with Sam Savage. Her personality really shines through in her writing. Her voice is just really fun and fresh, but really honest and frank. And it came through in both of these. It's made me want to read her other fictional work, which I have intentions of doing later on in the year, but massively excited for what she's done, and massively excited for what she's going to be doing in future. Next one is your favourite newest fictional crush, and that has to be Baz from Carry On by Rowell. So Baz is this character here who is a vampire in school. This is kind of like taken out of the a Harry Potter type world. It's got a lot of nods to it without being the same world, the same universe. But Baz is a vampire who has a desire to kill Simon, who is also his roommate, who he secretly has a passionate crush about. It made me feel like I was in high school again. I kind of identified with Simon in the fact that he's kind of more blonder and curly hair, and Baz has like more darker straight hair, and those are totally the type of guys that I would go for as a kid. So I think I kind of imagined myself as Simon. And Baz is someone who I would totally have had a crush on. Simon's actually oblivious to the fact that he has these very strong homoerotic feelings for him. So yeah, I loved all this whole book, but I think I probably do have a bit of a fictional crush on Baz. The next one is your newest favourite character, and that has to be Amanda Hardy from If I Was Your Girl, which is by Meredith Russo. I loved the voice of Amanda. Everything about her. So Amanda is the new girl at school. She's dealing with having to go to a new school, trying to make friends, but it also turns out that she has the secret that she happened to be a boy and now is a girl. And she just wants to have a nice time at school, and it's about her trying to fit in a different way. And you just get the sense of the emotions, and it gives you more sense of empathy for the individual in terms of what they're thinking and feeling, and what they're facing and what they're trying to achieve. I just felt the strength that she has in terms of facing up to a new school, trying to be accepted for being her, and I just really enjoyed the read. It was, as a YA, it was just quite a quick read, but a really powerful read as well. So the next one is The Book That Made You Cry, and I have not cried at a book this year. I've only actually cried with one book, which was Of Mice and Men, and this isn't like a I don't cry when I read, I'm too much of a bloke. I'm not that type of bloke at all. I certainly do cry at movies and stuff, I just haven't had that type of emotional reaction with most books, because they just haven't engaged me in that way. However, saying that, the book which gave me all the feels this year, I would say, is Sebastian Barry's Days Without End. This book made me feel all the emotions, from anger, joy, happiness and disgust. I felt them all.
Don't call, he's my beau. Starring Carson, don't you know why you're at war with these people? So shocked and distressed.
It's right, why did you kill the chief's daughter? Don't leave the camp. Make me sad.
Basically, I had the whole spectrum of the emotions. I felt them all. There were so many different moments, so many different bits where you're being pushed around, and there are parts where you were just like screaming,
Run right now.
and other bits where it just made you so shocked and distressed, and other parts where you just wanted them to live in those moments of joy and be protected and happy, and not have anything around them wreck their situations. And there was moments of beauty in terms of the way that they were living together and the things that they were doing. And when things were good, they were really, really good. You don't know who's going to survive throughout the book. You're constantly feeling that either John or Thomas or Winona are going to die, and it's just really distressing. Very distressing read. So I felt a lot. I felt a lot of things during that process. So that's why it gave me all the feels. A book that made you most happy, it just has to be Carry On. It was just so uplifting and joyful. It was a pure delight, and because it's a little bit bigger, you got to be in that world for a little bit longer. The next one is favourite book to movie adaptation, so that has to be 13 Reasons, but because it's not really a movie, it's a TV series. The other one that I would mention as well is Lion, which is based on the novel The Long Way Home by Saroo Brierley. That was an incredible film, is an incredible film. And that gave me all the feels in the same way. The next one is the favourite post that you've done in the year. I'd have to say that's my collaboration with Simon Savage. It was just a really fun day hanging out. I hope to be collaborating with other booktubers in future. If you want to be one of them, please get in contact with me. Collaboration was fun. It just it's a really different dynamic to doing this by yourself and without any other people to bounce off. It's nice just to actually have conversations about books and talk about them in more detail with people. So I hope to find other ways of doing that again in future. The next one is the most beautiful book that you've purchased this year. I didn't actually purchase this was a gift, but it is the most beautiful book that I've got, and it's called The Heart of Thomas, which is by Moto Hango, and it's a graphic novel, so I'll just kind of give a little sense of style. They're all young, beautiful boys, really, I'd say, rather than men, and it's kind of about the romantic feelings between these two characters. It's actually kind of sad, the story itself, but the cover is beautiful. It gives you this very kind of romantic feeling, a kind of Renaissance style, old slow burn romance style. It is probably the most beautiful cover that I own, so there we go. And the last one is books that you hope to read by the end of the year. So these are ones which I've recently purchased, so I need to read The Handmaid's Tale soon, because I just want to know the end before the end comes up on the TV series. I also want to see how it compares, but I'm loving the TV series. I want to read this. Next one I'm massively interested in is Nine Fox Gambit, which is by Yudong Han Lee, and that's because of Adriana's video, which I also had a link. I've said this before, but the way she described this just made me go, I want to read this, I want to read this now. And then the last one is The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson, and that's just because I've seen a lot of other booktubers highlight how good this one is. It's a small little read as well, so I just think I'll probably enjoy this one quite a lot. So those are the three main ones I want to read by the end of the year. That is the end of my mid-year freak out. So I hope I haven't freaked out too much. I've enjoyed making this video. I quite like these tag type ones. They're quite fun. They add a different structure to the stuff that I generate myself. Tell me if you've read any of the books which I've mentioned. Tell me if you share in terms of your reactions to them as well. That'd be really interesting to know. Is there other ones which I should be thinking about in terms of reading in the future? Also, like particularly ones where they're going to be released later on in the year, which you think that I'll probably like because of them being part of the queer family. Hope to see you again soon, and take care of yourself. Okay, bye.